how do we execute tenacity? Is it simply shown only in an attitude to improvise, adapt, and overcome during times of challenge or hardship? So we're all in COVID-19, this pandemic, we're all facing different challenges, but is it really hard what we're going through? Does it really require tenacity? These are some of the questions that I have going through my mind, but what I know is that no matter where I am, where you guys are, where any of us all are as individuals, tenacity is an ingredient of success. And I got a neat thing, being a retired policeman. I love the Marines and some of the things that they do and apply in life. The Marines are taught to be able to overcome any obstacle, which serves them well in the chaos of combat. This concept is encapsulated in the Marine slogan, improvise, adapt, and overcome, which is a mindset. It's really a way of thinking that allows Marines to deal with any physical, mental, or spiritual hardship that they're currently going through. And each moment or circumstance affects each of us uniquely based on our past, but mostly about our beliefs. And if you have a source that creates faith, as we talked in the past, we've talked about what the fear killers are. Well, the first fear killer is faith. Then the ability to embrace. A is then to accept what really is, and then R is actually to respond. So those are things, taking action. So how do we take action and execute tenacity? What's your thoughts, Graham?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and principles like that. You just gave a military analogy, and I think of a YouTube by a general, and one of the things that he speaks of that you need to do if you want to be successful is make your bed when you get up in the morning, because you start the day with an accomplishment, and no matter how small, it sets the tone and starts you off right. In terms of tenacity, the habits to build and create it are having a regimen, having a system for yourself that you follow, regardless of whether someone's yapping in your ear and putting external pressures on you. You create your own good habits, and I think that's a challenge for a lot of people right now. When they're quarantined, they don't have to show up at an office or at a job site at a certain time. So then they don't bother setting their alarm, and they get into the habit. I've talked to so many people that go, I've gained 15 COVID pounds, all those COVID teenies at 11 o'clock in the morning. And their habits and how they hold themselves accountable is having the opposite effect on them. And then that creates mental laziness, and then that creates the opposite of tenacity, which I think one of you mentioned earlier, it breeds fear. And I think that's one of the things that we really want to speak against in society is fear. We want to move forward with knowledge, with safe hygiene practices. I believe that a key to getting back to business economically is to improve public hygiene. And that conversation is starting, but it should have started a month ago already, because people don't develop habits the day before they open the restaurants back up or the schools back up. They need to start developing those habits long before. so that when they do go into public, they know how to assess risk. They know how to have better hygiene practices so that they're not placing themselves or others at unnecessary risk, and create a safer society as a result. All of this plays together into habits, and those habits are the cornerstone, I think, of tenacity. What do you think, Bob?
Great comments. Love your reference to Covey in that book, Seven Habits of Highly Successful People. The very first principle is the habit of being proactive. And so that's what you're talking about. Is I think it is, Graham. To me, it speaks that every day that we get up, and Covey says on a weekly basis, we need to do this. We have to identify the powerful areas in our life, the major areas in our life, and we need to be proactive in those areas. We should be taking action in the areas of your spouse or the person that you love in life, your children, your finances, your business, learning, spiritual growth, these major areas in life. And if we take action, vision those things, then there's something happens, something really powerful happens. You feel good, you feel confident, you start to make progress, you really start to believe in yourself. And I think that's what builds the character of tenacity. That's what builds determination, perseverance is you actually making progress that you value. It's like a personal value, taking action. If you do the opposite, if you spend a lot of time with Netflix, if you spend a lot of time in a gaming studio, right, doing games, I mean, there's value in that too. But at the end of the day or at the end of the week, if you spend the bulk of your time in these minor things, you don't have that. You've done probably very little to build tenacity, build perseverance, move yourself forward. And I think people should really take stock of where they're at, because life is nothing but time. That's all we have. And a lot of us, looking at me in the video, I've got limited time left, Graham. Limited time. So I want to make the most of my days. I want to make the most of today. And so I want to have concrete goals in those major areas of life that are going to be very valuable to me and the others around me. So I'll just give you a quick example. I'm thinking about my 3 kids, I'm thinking about my wife, I'm thinking about my business. 3 of the maybe 7 major areas that I think about. And today I will have created things to do, things to say to my wife, because she's away from me right now. 2 of my 3 kids actually all 3 kids are away right now, right? So I'm a distant father and distant husband, but I'm going to take action in those 2 major areas. And in business, I've got things that I'm doing today that make me feel like I'm moving ahead. That at the end of the day, I will say it's been a good day in business for me because I've taken some action. And I think that's the sort of thing that is the foundation of that word, Heath. It's the foundation of tenacity. It makes me more determined, not less determined. It makes me look forward, not behind. And I don't feel like I'm in quicksand or frozen. I feel like I'm moving somewhere where I want to move.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Bob. I think my summary would be supporting of what you both said, that how do we execute on tenacity is really about being clear on our why, and we're doing what we're doing and where we're going. And ultimately looking at those that have already successfully achieved it and copying them. We've been taught in our schools that, you don't copy, it's plagiarism, etc. However, in real life, when you leave the classroom and you have a proven model, we'll call them rituals or habits, why wouldn't we duplicate those successful habits? So what I try to do in my life is I look at people that have the fruit that I want to have. And then I look at what is the roots that's driving that fruit, which is the habits and rituals. And then I literally just copy it. So we've talked about my rituals many times, but the real truth is that what we're saying is that the two laws of focus and proximity are really core to having a character that's tenacious and that will overcome any obstacle. That we need to create those rituals that drive the success or the outcome that we want.